California's Golden Parks is made possible by Toyota, who is committed to keeping the air clean at all our beautiful parks with its hybrid Synergy Drive technology. In vehicles like the innovative Prius, Highlander Hybrid, and the Camry Hybrid. Lower emissions and higher gas mileage help hybrid Synergy Drive vehicles create a minimal impact on the environment. So take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy another one of California's Golden Parks.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Howser, and here we are on this beautiful spring morning in the eastern part of Contra Costa County, and we're standing here by this nice little valley. Now we're going to be spending most of our day here because this is not just your average run-of-the-mill beautiful valley. This valley is part of a park in progress. A park that, when it eventually opens up to the public, will definitely be one of California's golden parks.
I love you, California. You're the greatest state of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall.
Well, as we start our adventure, it doesn't get any prettier than this. Look at that beautiful green hill off in the distance. Springtime in California. The sun is shining. It doesn't get any prettier than this, Don. And what makes it so absolutely spectacular is that everything we're looking at out here is, well, will one day be part of one of California's state parks.
Absolutely, Huell. What you're seeing here today is 3,500 acres of what used to be a Spanish land grant in its glory. I mean, you see it. The hills are green. It's one of the most spectacular places here in East Contra Costa.
What do you call these gently sloping hills like this? Why do they look like this?
Basically, it's just the rolling hills and grasslands, and you do have some oaks covering on the backside here, and it's just spectacular. And like you said, this is one of our newest, our largest state historic park. It was just classified last year as a state historic park. It is still unnamed.
Doesn't even have a name yet.
Doesn't have a name yet.
Well, technically, how can it be a park if it doesn't even have a name?
Well, that's just part of the process, is coming up with the most appropriate name for this park. But it gives a visitor, when they come out here, the sense of how expansive this landscape was back in the early days, hundreds of years ago, where we want visitors to come back to walk down these trails and to experience not only the wildlife, but the history of this beautiful area.
Well, let's walk down this trail, because this is an old, I guess, farm road here that cuts right through this land.
Exactly. This is an old ranching road. It is still being used today. You can see there is still cattle being grazing out in the valley here. The area that we're looked at is called the Briones Valley, and basically it runs in a east-west direction down toward the center of the park.
Now, you have your general plan fixed up so that when this does open to the public, this part of the park, the public will be hiking down this road.
That's correct.
Right through this land, which will remain undeveloped. It will always look like this, right?
That's one of the beauties of it, is that this will look the same as it has for hundreds of years. It'll look this way hundreds of years in the future, where people could experience what goes on out here.
Wow, this is absolutely, and you have, let's not forget about this side of the road too, because it goes all the way up. It covers a huge area here.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, like I said, over 3,500 acres. And once you get in the heart of the park, you lose the traffic noise, and then you pick up just the noise of the birds, the grasses blowing in the wind. It's absolutely music to one's ears when they come out here.
Well, this is spectacular right here, and it covers, well, let's again look over here. It covers all of this land, all the way around and all the way back. as far as you can see back here.
Yeah, it follows the hill. Our boundary runs on the other side of this hillside here that you're looking at, and runs the entire length of the valley on either side. So it encompasses all these knolls where the oak trees are and sticking up out there. And the valley just takes off and meanders down around the corner.
Well, another part of the exciting part of this park in progress, is that we're on the edge of the park right here. There's a lot more to see back in here, and that's where we're going to go right now. We're not going to walk there. We're going to drive there.
We're going to make it quick.
And see the rest of the park. Okay, as our adventure continues, look what we have come upon. We've traveled a couple of miles, and look at this huge, big stone. It almost looks like a castle standing out here alone, Don. This is amazing.
Yes, it's an incredible house. It was the home of John Marsh, and John was an early day California pioneer.
When was this built?
This was built, started in 1852, and he completed it in 1856. So
now, wait a minute. There was nothing out here then. There's not much out here now, but there was nothing out here then.
You're absolutely correct. There was nothing here. And you could imagine the construction of that house and to haul the materials. And then just think you as an early day pioneer moving out here, coming across the landscape, seeing nothing, and coming over the hill, and here you are for maybe a wayward stop.
Now, I don't think most of us quite understand or have ever done much thinking about where state parks come from, where the original idea to make something a park comes from. That's the reason this whole thing started, isn't it?
That's absolutely correct. And what it is it has such significance for the state of California. And this was the first purchase. It was one of 13 acres. And then a short time thereafter, in 2002, we acquired the other 3,500 acres.
So initially, you just got the house and the 13 acres, and what were you going to do with it? Or did you even know for sure?
Well, our plan was, at the time, was to interpret the history of John Marsh, because he was such a significant character on the early day California, and the reason why so many people moved out west was because of him. Now we've expanded, and the story, it's like a book. We keep reading more of the pages and we find more of the story, and this is just one part of the story.
Because from that initial 13 acres and that initial purchase of that home, you have expanded to 3,500 acres. And you've gone way back in time. And Brett, come on over here, because we've kind of gotten ahead of ourselves when we talk about John Marsh in the 1850s. There was a lot going on here as far as human history was concerned a long time before that.
You're absolutely right, Huell. 1850s was just yesterday. We know people were here a long time before the 1850s.
How long?
At least 7,000 to 9,000 years. At least 7,000 to 9,000 years.
You're kidding. And how do we know that?
Well, the archaeological work that's been done over about the last 50 years here, but especially in the last 4 or 5 years, has pushed that time further and further into the past.
And what have you found? How do we know for sure? Are we finding remnants of those early societies?
Absolutely. Going all the way back to John Marsh's time, Marsh wrote that when he built this house that we're looking at here, he found burials as they were creating the foundations. So even as early as John Marsh's time, we knew that this was a large archaeological site. In recent years, though, we pushed the boundaries further out geographically and further back temporally to, like I say, at least 7,000 to 9,000 years. I have no doubt that archaeologists working here 10 or 20 years from now will be telling you 11 or 12,000 years. We'll keep pushing it further back.
So this makes this area right here, this 3,500 acres in this state park, one of the richest archaeological areas anywhere in California.
Without a doubt, definitely one of the most significant archaeological landscapes in the state park system and the state of California.
Was it kind of a surprise to you when you started finding all of this?
It was to me. I mean, it's an area that you would expect to have a lot of archaeology, but I don't think anyone expected what we know is here now.
So how do you preserve this? How do you make this a part of the experience that we will have when we come here in the future to visit this park?
The great thing about our state park system is that we have people on the staff from all types of fields: interpreters, engineers, maintenance professionals, managers, archaeologists, and working as teams, we create general plans that will work, that'll tell us how to manage the park, and then we have staff that can do that so that we can balance all those different things that we have to balance of getting the public in, protecting the resources, and telling the story. And telling the story here will be exciting.
So Don, this is all going to be this big kind of an ongoing story to tell about the ancient inhabitants of this land thousands of years ago, the Marsh story, the John Marsh story, and then the natural story, the beautiful story of people being able to come here to camp and hike and horseback ride and bike and do all the things that people do in beautiful places like this.
Right. We've just touched on the cultural and archaeological history. We have a whole resource history in endangered species of plants and animals that use this area as home. We haven't even touched on that yet.
Yeah.
And that'll be just one of the stories that people can see and experience when they come out here and visit this park.
And one of the other stories that people can see, kind of an unexpected one, look right over here. The camera can see it right up on the top of the hill here. When you first purchased this land, there was nothing around here. Now, that is you tell me, going to be a 1,500 home development built right on top of the hill. So now this park takes on added significance because it's going to be this wonderful oasis, this wonderful place for people to come and see yesterday's California in the midst of all of this development that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. In the development, you're going to have new neighbors, new folks living there and occupying the same site that was occupied 9,000 years before. And now they'll be able to experience what took place, hundreds and thousands of years right across it. So
isn't it interesting how it all makes a complete circle?
This is just a really nice spot to live on, and it was nice 9,000 years ago. It'll be nice 9 years from now, 900 years from now.
Yeah.
And we're just going to keep adding to that archaeological story.
Well, it's a great place to see it today. We don't know for sure how long it's going to be before this park opens up. Right now, you're doing some work on the house just to stabilize it, right?
Yeah, we're doing quite a bit of work. We were fortunate to get a number of grants. We also have a number of interest groups that have fundraised for us and got grants on their own, and we're pooling our resources in order to stabilize the building. And eventually, as the economy turns around, our goal is to completely restore it and turn it into a visitor center, put displays inside, in which we help to tell the story.
So this has been the before to an after that we're not sure when it's going to open up as a park or even what the name of the park is going to be. But to be here and know that this has been saved for future generations of Californians to enjoy. It's fun. In a way, it's fun to be here kind of before anyone else knows about it and opens up as a park.
Right, because there's a lot of steps that have to take place and a lot of planning that has to take place. The future is extremely bright for this park, and that's one of the exciting things, to be here in the ground floor and you're seeing it in the ground floor. When you come back 10, 15 years from now, it could be a whole different look to it, where we're standing here and the birds are chirping in the background. We may have busloads of kids, and that's the ideal, is that we bring the school kids out, we educate them on their past.
Yeah. Well, let's take one more look at it here. Here's the old stone house, the home of John Marsh, an early California pioneer built back in the 1850s. It's the centerpiece of what will one day be open to the public for all of us to enjoy. This wonderful park, this California State Park, this California Golden Park. Well, we ended up with that beautiful, idyllic picture of the beautiful stone house, the Marsh house. We were going to leave and go to another location, and then Don and Breck brought us around to this side of the house, and this shows us the challenges. It's not so idyllic, is it? There's a lot of work to be done here.
No, there's a tremendous amount of work to be done, and we're dealing with a sandstone building. And if you look, there's also not only the sandstone on the outside, but there's a brick wall on the inside
with some space in between.
And that basically keeps the home warm in the wintertime, cool in the summertime. So it acts as early day insulation.
Now, how in the world do you fix something like this? This is a huge project.
This is a huge project, and not only do we have to fix it, but we have to fix it with like materials similar to what was used in the 1800s, and that is a challenge.
Well, again, though, this is going to be even more significant when someday they dig this interview out of the time capsule and people who are used to seeing this as a restored, beautiful visitor center will see what it came from and how much work had to be done to make this into a viable state park.
Right. It takes a tremendous amount of work to get it up to where the visitors are in and they're using it and learning about the area. This, like you said, is the ground floor of the park, and we have to stabilize this. We have to make it earthquake safe and put it all back to where it was.
Well, there's a lot of work yet to be done, but now let's end this segment with this shot. Not the idyllic, beautiful postcard shot, but this shot of the work that still has to be done before this park opens up to the public. This is definitely a park in progress. Okay, as our Parks in Progress adventure continues, we have driven about 50 miles from the eastern part of Contra Costa County. We're now in San Francisco, and there is Candlestick Park off in the distance. And exactly where are we right now, Don? This is a beautiful area right here.
Well, welcome to Candlestick Point State Recreation Area. This is one of California State Park's first urban park, and you're located south of the downtown area of San Francisco.
Now, wait a minute. This adventure is about parks in progress. This park is already here, and boy, look over here. I've never been here before. This is spectacular. Is this all natural out here?
No, actually, this area is totally fill. Back in before World War II, when the Naval Shipyard was expanding, they filled the whole tidelands in the Bay Area. So this is all fill that you're looking at, and it was converted into parkland in 1981.
Okay, my question still stands, though. This is supposed to be about parks in progress. This park is already here.
Well, it's a park in transition and progressing toward an interesting future. And what we have here is a complete redevelopment of the Hunters Point Shipyard, which borders the state park on the north side.
All of this area
area that you could see out here. And eventually what is going to happen is that there'll be new homes, residential, commercial, but more importantly, right along the shoreline is a complete shoreline park. And that'll eventually connect with where you're standing today. And so this will be a whole complete rework of a park, city and state park.
So this park that's already here right now will be expanded to include the land up against the water, all up and down here where the shipyard is now. The shipyard's going away.
The shipyard's going away, and it's going to be converted to residential and parkland.
And so is Candlestick Park going away.
Candlestick Park, home of the 49ers, is also under transition. The stadium was built in the early 50s, and now they're going to get a new stadium.
So, and the new stadium will not be in this location. So this stadium is going away. The shipyard is going away, and a new park will replace it.
Absolutely. You'll see a whole new park here in the next 15 or 20 years. So we are in a state of change in this park. It's different from where we just saw, where that's a park that's never been built up yet. And this one is built up, it's in an urban area, but it's going to transition. So it'll be an exciting project for the city and for the state parks.
Okay, as our adventure continues, there is Candlestick Park from yet another vantage point. And then, Cameron, if you'll pull out and pan just a little over to your left, there's the wooded area, the grassy area that we have just been visiting. That's the park as it now exists. And now we've come up on top of the world, and we've met up with Tiffany from the mayor's office here in San Francisco, because, Tiffany, you are very excited about what the future of all of this, and we're talking about all of this, these buildings, all of this land, all the way across here. This is Hunters Point, the old naval base, which is going to become a park in partnership with the state of California.
Yes, that's right, Huell. Thank you for having me. We are really excited about our partnership with California State Parks. We've got existing wonderful parks at Candlestick area, and we will extend those parks as part of this 700-acre development, the revitalization of this shipyard into homes, life science and technology and green tech uses, and our major component, we've got 400 acres of parks if we include that Candlestick State Park area.
Now where are this? We're talking, well, there's Candlestick State Recreation Area. That's where Don took us to start this thing.
That's right.
But that's just kind of the tip out there. It's going to expand all the way down here on the waterfront, all the way down to the point.
That's absolutely right. We will continue the Bay Trail. We're going to add on and rejuvenate that existing Candlestick area and add on hundreds of acres into habitat areas, bird watching areas, boat kayak launch areas, exactly, right here. And continue that, wrapping all the way around.
We're down here to the point?
All the way around this area here. We're at a home site area here, and we're looking at future home sites, future job and retail, future home for existing artist colony. And with that park, that will become the centerpiece of this jewel of the neighborhood here.
Now see, you just informed me that we're in the city of San Francisco. I never knew this was part of the city out here, and I bet you most people don't.
I think you're absolutely right. This area of the city, the Bayview, has some of the best weather and the best access and views to the bay, and the most incredible habitat areas that are existing there now that we're going to expand into picnic areas, actually active recreation and soccer fields to complement the state park recreation area. So we've got a tremendous opportunity here working with our development partner.
Now, how long does all this take to get done? You're talking like it's going to be done tomorrow. Right over here, they're beginning to build some of the home sites that are going to be located up here on top of this hill. But how long is it going to take? You got a lot of work to do. A lot of these buildings will have to go. A lot of this concrete removed. A lot of natural things brought back in. What's your timetable for this? We're talking actually right around the corner within the next couple of years. You'll see by 2010, you'll see major demolition, these buildings removed, and around 2010, 12, we'll start to see significant park areas be built here. So you got a whole big master plan already approved and we do. We're in the process of getting our plan approved through our city and state and federal approvals, but we've got tremendous momentum. The community out here really supports us. Our board of supervisors and our mayor, they supported our preliminary plan, and we're just going to keep on going. Because up until now, that point where you took us earlier, I bet you a lot of people use that when they were coming to ball games. They'd have picnics over there, and the community probably uses that area already.
Yeah, it's a very popular park by the local community. They use it for picnicking, hiking, bicycling, things like that, as well as when the 49ers are playing. Now when we start seeing additional neighbors move into these neighborhoods, we'll see a tremendous amount of usage, and not only, it'll extend all the way around the corner.
There are so many neat old historic buildings here from the Navy days. Are you planning on saving any of them? Well, yes, absolutely. So we've got the old brick pump house building that actually predates the Navy. And then we've also got the crane structure over here, and then the surrounding piers that'll be part of this waterfront promenade. So wait a minute, you're going to save the big crane over there? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's... That's kind of a San Francisco landmark in a way. It is. It's an icon for folks walking along the trail over there on the other side, or even driving in. You really can see it, even from downtown. And then you're going to save the old piers, too. What's going to happen out on the piers? Those pier structures will be like a continuation of the Bay Trail, kind of a boardwalk area. We're even thinking about doing some extreme sports around that crane area, and then also doing this wonderful maritime heritage park in this area over here that celebrates this the rich naval maritime past here at the shipyard. See, I think that's the irony here, is at one time there was so much activity here when this was a naval base, and yet people who weren't directly connected with this base, didn't actually work on the base, could never get in and see any of this. Even the people, when they went to ball games at Candlestick, couldn't come down to this part of Hunters Point.
That's absolutely right, Huell. The beauty of this revitalization is we're really opening up this entire area, this entire waterfront area to San Franciscans and the whole region.
Who've never been here before.
Who've never been here before.
Tiffany, actually right now we're on the base, we're down right on the waterfront, and we're walking on what will someday be a big boardwalk here for people to hike and walk and bike all the way around the bay here.
That's absolutely right. We're on this continuous waterfront boardwalk area that goes back a ways.
And then right over here, this is the old brick historic structure, the old pump house that dates way back, probably into the 1800s. And people will be able to get a cup of coffee and sit out here and look out at the view of San Francisco off in the distance. Boy, this really says it all, and you can begin, when you get right down into the guts of the thing, begin to understand what is going to be here someday.
You could start to feel it and you could start to experience it. I mean, it just doesn't take much to just close your eyes and imagine what this will transform into.
And you know what's so interesting too today is look at this big old deserted building over here. It's almost like a ghost town here today, and to think ahead to what it's going to be like when thousands of people with their children and their families and their friends are able to come over and enjoy this area and really be enriched by the experience of being here.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to transforming this into a really vibrant, wonderful community. What we're really doing is unlocking the beautiful development potential here for existing neighborhoods, people who live right here now and who will live here in the next few years, and really opening it up. It's a regional draw to this jewel of an amenity here that we're really excited about.
Well, you know what? I look out here and I see buildings and concrete and cranes and piers and all of that. When these two look out there, they see a whole nother thing. And I'm beginning to get the idea that when you work with parks, whether it's state parks or city parks, you got to be able to project, to think ahead, to dream, to see things that other people don't see.
That's right, and we're fortunate. Our partner in state parks, they are truly visionaries, and so we're looking forward to getting this going with them.
Well, the city and the state together, let's stand together. Boy, this has been exciting here. Thank you so much, Don.
You're welcome.
He's taken us to another future park earlier before we got here, so we have really gotten a full day's worth of we're kind of jumping the gun, kind of seeing these places before the people of California are going to see them in their finished state. And that's what's been so excited about this adventure.
To watch this unfold before your eyes is really an outstanding project, and it's really exciting for everybody in the state of California and the city.
Well, you've given us a preview. Thank you all so much. We've had a wonderful day. It's all about parks in progress. We've seen two of them today that, when they are completed, will be fine examples of California's golden parks. Just wait a few more years and they'll be here, ready for all of us to enjoy.
This presentation of California's Golden Parks was made possible by Toyota, who wants you to get out and see these incredible parks for yourself. Toyota is committed to preserving their natural beauty with its hybrid synergy drive technology in vehicles like the Prius, Highlander Hybrid, and Camry Hybrid. Lower emissions and higher gas mileage help hybrid synergy drive vehicles have a minimal impact on our natural wonders. We'll see you next time on California's Golden Parks.